On Friday the 29th of June 2018, I went to Oxenholme to observe buses and trains in the Lake District. Train operating company Northern were forced to introduce an emergency timetable after a whole catalogue of issues resulted in many cancellations across the network during a major timetable change in May of this year. To cut a long story short, Northern decided to replace trains from Oxenholme to Windermere with buses. With the tourist season at its peak, this couldn't have come at a worst possible time. However, following a collaboration between the North Lakes MP Tim Farron and the West Coast Railway Company, a vintage locomotive-hauled service was introduced. With Northern being obliged to put on buses for fare-paying passengers and the fact that the government were going to cover the cost of running these special trains, this meant that no fares would be observed and that the trains would be completely free of charge.
Train approaching platform 3 will form the 925 West Coast Railway service to Windermere. Train will call at Kendal, Burnside, Staveley and Windermere. Platform 3 for Kendal, Burnside, Staveley, Windermere. Train is not Farron until 09:25.
The locomotives on the day of filming were 57316 and 47245, top and tailing a rake of Mark II coaching stock. 57316 is actually a re-engineered Class 47. In 2002, several other Class 47s were converted to become part of a Virgin Thunderbird fleet. The locomotives were named after vehicles and characters from the classic children's television series created by Jerry Anderson in the 1960s. Incidentally, 316 was known as Fab 1. Departure of the first morning train was delayed by about 10 minutes as it was decided to wait for an incoming Transpennine service from Manchester. The station at Windermere was opened in 1847 by the Kendal and Windermere Railway. The station was originally bigger than the one we see today, for it boasted 4 platforms and an overall roof. As an economy measure, the branch was singled in 1973, and by 1986 the track and station were truncated, following the demolition of the old train shed. Today, a supermarket now occupies the site of the original station. It was built to mimic the design of the original buildings. The famous lake is approximately a 25-minute bus ride away. Talking of which, we now observe some bus workings at the station. During the previous week of operation, the line also saw a Class 37 and Class 33 operate the shuttle. Due to complaints about the noise and smoke generated from the older locomotives by the line's nearest neighbours, the 47 and 57 have been the locos of choice for the final full week. We now pay a brief visit to the village of Staveley, where I broke for lunch and took a short walk around the village. The station opened in 1847. Before the branch was singled, there were two platforms staggered either side of a road bridge at the east end of the station. Today, facilities are very basic, the station featuring digital timetables, a waiting shelter and a help point. Access to the station is only by a very steep staircase from the street below. We now fast forward to Kendal. I had initially planned for an additional stop at Burneside station, but given the hot weather and the fact that there was very little to do in Burneside, I decided to shorten the day and go to Kendal bus station instead. Kendal lies about 8 miles south east of Windermere. It is largely a centre for tourism. It is well known for its mint cakes and is the third largest Cumbrian settlement behind Barrow and Carlisle. My final train of the day was the 15:50 departure to Oxenholme, where I waited until about 16:35 to not only see the train depart for Windermere, but also to see the intervening services. Overall, a good day was had by all. On the 2nd of July, a near normal service of trains had been resumed by Northern, with supplementary buses. If you liked this video and want to stay up to date, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. To ensure that a video reaches your subscription feed, please also click on the bell icon. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter for further updates. Thank you for watching and take care.